In 2026, more than 24 architecture firms, research labs, and independent designers around the world are racing to answer a single question. What does a home look like when it has to generate its own power, harvest its own water, grow part of its own food, and survive the climate disruptions that are already arriving faster than most building codes can adapt to? Some of these answers are already under construction. Some exist as fully engineered concepts with permits filed and ground broken, waiting for their first residents in 2027. And some are still in the design phase, but are backed by real funding, real engineering teams, and real intent to build, not just render images for an architecture website. I have gone through dozens of these projects, separated the genuine forward-looking concepts from the vaporware renderings that never had any construction budget behind them, and pulled together the 10 that represent the most serious, most technically credible vision of where self-sufficient housing is actually heading. This is not a list of fantasy houses that will never exist. Every home on this list has a real design team, real engineering behind it, and a real path to construction in 2027 or has already broken ground. Stay with me through the entire video because the final 2 homes on this list use a building technique that almost nobody is talking about yet, and it might be the most important development in self-sufficient housing in the next 5 years. If you want to stay ahead of where housing technology and self-sufficient living are actually heading, not the hype, but the real engineering and the real projects, subscribe right now and hit the notification bell. This channel tracks innovative and sustainable building further out and in more technical depth than anywhere else on this platform. Now, let us count down the 10 homes that are defining what self-sufficient living looks like in 2027. Number 10, the Appalachian Terraced Earth Home. Starting at number 10, the Appalachian Terraced Earth Home is a concept developed by a regional design and build firm working in Western North Carolina, an area that experienced devastating flooding in 2024 and has driven significant rethinking of how homes should be sited and constructed in mountainous flood-prone terrain. This design breaks ground in early 2027 on its first full-scale build. The home is built into a hillside using a stepped terrace foundation system that anchors the structure well above historical floodlines while using the surrounding earth mass for passive thermal regulation. The roof is a vegetated living roof that manages stormwater runoff directly at the source rather than channeling it into streams that have proven unable to handle extreme rainfall events. Water collection from the roof feeds an underground cistern, and the home's power comes from a combination of roof-integrated solar and a microhydro turbine fed by a managed spring on the property. What makes this home notable is not any single technology, but the site-specific disaster resilience thinking, designed specifically as a direct response to a climate event that already happened rather than a theoretical future risk. Number 9, the mycelium grown starter home. At number 9, a Dutch and Belgian collaborative research team has developed a residential concept using mycelium-based composite materials, essentially fungal root structures grown into structural building blocks combined with a conventional timber frame for primary structural support. The mycelium blocks serve as wall infill, providing insulation values competitive with conventional foam insulation while being fully biodegradable and grown rather than manufactured using fossil fuel inputs. A pilot development of 6 of these homes is scheduled for construction in the Netherlands in 2027, following several years of material testing and a successful demonstration structure completed in 2024. The mycelium material grows in molds over a period of roughly 2 weeks using agricultural waste as feedstock, then is heat-treated to halt growth and stabilize the material permanently. The honest limitation here is that mycelium composite construction remains unproven at scale for full multi-decade structural performance, and the 2027 pilot homes are explicitly being built as monitored test cases rather than a finished commercial product, which is exactly the kind of honest framing that distinguishes a credible emerging technology from an overhyped one. Number 8, the Desert Atmospheric Water Home. Number 8 takes us to a concept under development in the United Arab Emirates and parts of the American Southwest, a residential design built around atmospheric water generation as the primary water source rather than rainfall collection, which is increasingly unreliable in regions experiencing more extreme and less predictable precipitation patterns. The home integrates a hygroscopic material system embedded in the building's facade that absorbs atmospheric humidity overnight when relative humidity is highest, then releases that captured moisture during the day using solar thermal energy as the desorption driver, condensing it into usable water. Early commercial versions of this facade technology are already deployed in standalone units, producing 5 to 10 liters of water per day, and the integrated 2027 home concept aims to scale this to a building-integrated system producing 40 to 60 liters per day, enough to cover a significant portion of a small household's drinking water needs in an extremely arid climate. This technology genuinely matters because it decouples water security from precipitation entirely, which is a meaningfully different proposition than every rainwater harvesting system that depends on weather patterns that are becoming less predictable every year. Number 7, the modular disaster-resilient coastal home. At number 7, a Gulf Coast and Caribbean-focused design and engineering firm has developed a modular elevated home system specifically engineered for the increasingly severe hurricane seasons being experienced across the region. The structure sits on a screw-pile foundation system that can be installed without heavy excavation equipment and allows the home to be elevated 12 to 18 feet above grade, depending on local flood risk mapping. The building envelope uses insulated concrete form construction rated for 200-mile-per-hour sustained winds, and the entire home is designed to be rapidly disconnected from utility tie-ins and relocated to a new foundation if a specific site becomes uninsurable or unsafe over time, a genuinely forward-thinking response to the reality that some coastal land will simply become unviable for permanent construction within the coming decades. Solar power, rainwater collection, and a compact graywater treatment system round out the self-sufficiency systems. Several pilot units are under construction in Louisiana and the Bahamas with occupancy targeted for mid-2027. Number 6, the Alpine avalanche-resistant solar home. Number 6 moves to the Swiss and Austrian Alps, where a consortium of engineering firms has developed a partially earth-sheltered mountain home designed to withstand avalanche impact loads while maintaining full passive solar performance during the brief but intense alpine summer and surviving extended winter periods with minimal sun exposure. The structure uses a reinforced concrete shell on its uphill-facing side engineered to specific avalanche impact load standards developed from Swiss federal avalanche research data, while the downhill and south-facing side opens into extensive glazing to capture maximum solar gain when available. Battery storage capacity is unusually large for a residential system, sized for 10 to 14 days of full autonomy to handle the extended low sun periods common at high alpine elevations in deep winter. A demonstration home is currently under construction in a canton in eastern Switzerland with completion expected in 2027, and the engineering data from this build is being shared with several other alpine municipalities considering similar construction for remote mountain infrastructure. Number 5, the vertical farm integrated urban townhome. At number 5, a Singapore-based architecture firm working with vertical farming technology specialists has designed a narrow urban townhome typology that integrates a full hydroponic vertical farming wall running the entire height of the building's interior atrium, designed to supplement a household's vegetable consumption significantly while existing on a standard urban lot footprint. This addresses a genuinely different self-sufficiency challenge than the rural and desert concepts on this list, the question of how dense urban environments can incorporate meaningful food production without requiring acreage that simply does not exist in a city. The hydroponic system is automated using sensor-controlled nutrient dosing and LED grow lighting powered by rooftop solar, and the firm's pilot data from a prototype unit completed in 2025 suggests the system can produce enough leafy greens, herbs, and certain fruiting vegetables to cover approximately 40% of a small household's fresh produce needs year-round. A row of 12 of these townhomes is under construction in a Singapore residential district with delivery scheduled across 2027. Number for the Australian outback, self-sufficient ranch home. Number 4 takes us to the Australian outback, where extreme heat, extreme isolation from infrastructure, and increasingly severe bushfire risk have driven one of the most comprehensively self-sufficient residential designs on this entire list. Developed by an Australian sustainable architecture firm with extensive bushfire engineering experience, this home uses a rammed earth and steel hybrid construction method, rated to the highest Australian bushfire attack level classification, meaning it is engineered to survive direct ember attack and radiant heat exposure from an active bushfire without requiring evacuation in many scenarios. The home is fully solar-powered with a battery system sized for 5 to 7 days of autonomy, collects and treats 100% of its water needs from roof catchment given the extremely limited and unreliable outback rainfall, and includes an integrated food production system using shadecloth-covered raised beds specifically engineered to function in extreme heat. Several of these homes have already been built as custom one-off projects, and the firm is releasing a standardized version intended for broader construction across rural Australia, beginning in 2027. Number 3, the Canadian Arctic Passive House. At number 3, a Canadian engineering and architecture collaboration has developed a residential concept for far northern and Arctic communities that takes passive house principles, originally developed for cold but temperate European climates, and pushes them to function in genuinely extreme Arctic conditions, including months of complete darkness and temperatures regularly below -40 degrees Fahrenheit. The home uses an extraordinarily thick, insulated envelope, triple, and in some sections quadruple glazed windows, and a heat recovery ventilation system that captures and reuses up to 95% of the heat in outgoing air rather than losing it to the brutal exterior cold. Power comes from a combination of solar, which is genuinely viable during the months of near-continuous summer daylight at these latitudes, and a small wind turbine sized for the long, dark winter period when solar contributes almost nothing. This concept directly addresses a problem that most self-sufficient housing content ignores entirely: the fact that genuinely self-sufficient living at extreme latitudes requires fundamentally different engineering than anything designed for temperate or desert climates. A pilot community of these homes is planned for a remote Canadian Territory community, with construction beginning in 2027, developed in direct partnership with the local Indigenous community that will occupy the homes. Number 2, the 3D printed Earth Blend Desert Home. Number 2 on this list represents one of the fastest moving construction technologies in residential building, and it is the first of the 2 final entries that use the building technique I mentioned at the beginning of this video. Several firms operating in the American Southwest, including teams that have previously built demonstration 3D printed homes in Texas and California, have advanced to producing fully self-sufficient 3D printed home concepts using a printable material blend that incorporates significant percentages of local earth and clay rather than relying entirely on Portland cement-based printing mixes. This earth blend printing material dramatically reduces the carbon footprint of the construction process compared to conventional 3D printed concrete homes, while producing a wall system with genuine thermal mass properties similar to traditional adobe construction. A printer can complete the structural shell of a modest home in under 48 hours of active printing time, compared to weeks or months for comparable conventional construction. Several of these homes integrate solar power, rainwater harvesting, and graywater recycling as standard rather than optional systems. Pilot developments using this earthblend printing technique are under construction in Arizona and New Mexico, with multiple homes expected to be completed and occupied during 2027, and the printing technology itself continues to improve rapidly with material costs and print speeds, both improving year over year. Number 1, the hemp lime 3D printed carbon negative home. At number 1, a French and Belgian engineering collaboration has developed what may be the most genuinely forward-looking concept on this entire list, a fully 3D printed home using a hemp and lime composite material known as hempcrete, printed using large-scale robotic printing arms rather than the gantry-style printers used for most concrete 3D printed construction. Hempcrete is a genuinely carbon-negative building material, meaning that hemp plants absorb more carbon dioxide during cultivation than is released during the material's production and curing process, making this potentially the first widely producible 3D printed home construction method that results in a net carbon reduction rather than the net carbon emission that even efficient conventional construction produces. The material also has excellent insulation properties and genuine breathability that helps regulate interior humidity naturally, reducing mold risk without mechanical dehumidification. A demonstration home using this technique was completed in France in 2025, and a pilot development of 8 homes using refined printing techniques and improved hempcrete mix formulations is scheduled for construction completion in 2027 in northern France, with a second pilot site under negotiation in the American Pacific Northwest, where hemp cultivation infrastructure is also developing rapidly. If this technology scales successfully, it represents a genuinely different category of achievement compared to every other home on this list, not just a self-sufficient home, but a home that is a net positive contributor to atmospheric carbon reduction rather than merely a reduced impact structure. The honest pattern across all 10 homes, looking at all 10 of these projects together, reveals a pattern that I think is the most important takeaway from this entire video. The future of self-sufficient housing is not converging on a single dominant technology or a single architectural style. It is diversifying based on specific regional climate threats and specific regional resources. The coastal home is solving for hurricanes and rising water. The Arctic home is solving for darkness and extreme cold. The desert homes are solving for water scarcity and extreme heat. The urban townhome is solving for food production without land. This regional specificity is genuinely different from how mainstream residential construction has worked for the past 70 years, where the same basic wood-frame stick-built house with central HVAC gets built with only minor variations from Florida to Minnesota to Arizona. The homes on this list suggest a future where the building itself is engineered as a direct response to the specific environmental threats and resources of its exact location, which is both a more complex and a genuinely more intelligent way to build than the standardized approach that has dominated construction since the mid-20th century. It is also worth being honest that not every concept on this list will succeed in the form shown here. The mycelium home and the hempcrete printed home in particular are working with materials that are still being proven at residential scale, and pilot projects sometimes reveal problems that do not show up until years of real-world performance data accumulate. That uncertainty is normal for genuinely innovative construction, and it does not diminish the value of attempting these approaches now rather than waiting for perfect certainty that will never arrive before the climate conditions these homes are designed for become even more severe. 10 homes, 10 different climates, 10 different specific problems being solved with real engineering and real construction budgets rather than speculative renderings. What unites all of them is a rejection of the assumption that a house is supposed to be a passive box that survives only because of imported electricity, imported water, and a mechanical system fighting against the local climate rather than working with it. Whether any individual technology on this list becomes dominant or fades into a footnote of architectural history, the underlying shift toward homes that are designed as intelligent responses to their specific environment rather than identical boxes dropped into any location is very likely the direction residential construction needs to move, regardless of which exact materials and methods ultimately prove most durable and most economical at scale. If this gave you a genuinely useful look at where housing is actually heading rather than where the hype suggests it is heading, please hit the like button because it helps this kind of detailed coverage reach more people. Subscribe for more deep dives into the real engineering behind sustainable and future-forward building. Drop a comment telling me which of these 10 homes you would actually want to live in, because I respond to every single comment, and your answer might shape which of these projects gets a full, dedicated video next. See you in the next one.